Hello and welcome to the lucky 13th edition of OCPL Presents Shakespeare Unstaged. And today we have a dynamic lineup for you. We have 4 stalwart actors who have been with our company for many years. So you're going to get the best of the best, the cream of the crop. So let's start out with the SSITP announcements. And of course, Much Ado About Nothing, what's behind me, is our number 1 because we open tomorrow. We have sold more than 125 tickets for tomorrow. We're sold out for Saturday, first time we've ever been sold out. And Sunday, we've sold about 90 tickets. So we're doing really well. We got a few boosts from our local newspaper, who will remain unnamed, and their online service as well, which will remain unnamed. Unfortunately, we won't be getting reviewed, so that's not good for the actors. That sort of, hurts them a little bit. But I saw the show. It's fantastic. Anne does a great job. There are many, many actors who do a great job, and you will enjoy yourself. Now, we're limited to 150 ticketed people, so I highly recommend you get your tickets first online. If you can't, or if you're shut out and you want to go Saturday, you can be a walk-in. We take 50 walk-ins only per day. So get there early. Get there an hour in advance because the show starts at 5:30. And it will take us quite a while to check people in. You're going to be temperature checked, and we're taking your name and your phone number, and we're asking you COVID questions and your firstborn child. No, we're not doing that. But everything else we are doing. And I lined the amphitheater yesterday, so that was pretty cool. I got a lining machine, and I painted on the grass, and we have all these cool areas set out for you. So you can be in any of the areas except the first row. That's for premium people, which is almost sold out, 56 out of 60. And, you're going to have a good time no matter how you get there. Tickets are free. You can also make a donation if you'd like, or you can still get the 4 premium tickets that are left. So that's up to you. So I think I blew all my time now, and I'm going to throw it over to Cara Luddy, who's going to give you the latest and greatest news about Onondaga County Public Library. Take it away, Cara.
Thanks, Ronnie. So today I'm actually going to talk about the 2020 census because it is really critical that we get awareness about the census out there. So as of July 24th, only half of the households in Syracuse have responded to the census. It's really, really important that you encourage your friends and your neighbors to respond. And I'm going to talk a little bit about why responding is so important. So results from the census decide how hundreds of billions of dollars in federal aid are distributed to communities all over the country. This money goes towards hospitals, public transit, schools, and a lot of other critical services that help your community run. So results from the census also determine how many seats each state receives in the House of Representatives. The data also helps congressional and state legislative districts be drawn. It's really important that the Census Bureau gets an accurate count. Otherwise, communities may not have fair political representation, may be underrepresented, and that would be really, really devastating for communities that are already underserved. So just to clear up some stuff about the 2020 census, the Census Bureau is never going to ask for your social security number, money or donations, anything on behalf of a political party or your bank and credit card info. If you're concerned about privacy and how your information is being shared, it's important to note that by law, the Census Bureau cannot share any identifiable information about you to law enforcement or ICE. Every Census Bureau employee takes an oath to protect your data for life. So there is no citizenship question. The form is going to ask for some basic information about you and the people in your household, and that includes age, race, and sex. You'll also be asked to provide a phone number just in case the Census Bureau has to follow up on any questions. But again, this is not going to be shared with any outside entities. So responding only takes 10 minutes. It's a very low commitment for you to make with your time. You just get it out of the way. So you can visit 2020census.gov to respond online. And if you visit that website, you can also learn how to respond by phone or mail if you're not comfortable responding online. So that's my spiel about the census and just how important it is. And I really encourage you to, talk to your friends and ask them if they've responded and help get the word out. So I'm done. Thank you.
Cara, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
If we are undercounted, what happens? How do they figure out how many people to count in a certain area if we don't actually get the census forms in?
So do you mean
because they're ending early. They're ending September 30th, which is a month early, which is a little weird. And so if they don't have all the people return it, how do they know how many people there are?
That's a good question, because they'll say like, oh, well, we know only 60% of households responded. I'm not entirely sure like where that data comes from. But I do know that the census, that is where they are drawing this data. So like, even if we know that there's a certain amount of households in Syracuse, that's not what is going to inform how this federal aid is going to be distributed. The federal aid and the House of Representatives seats, that is determined by the census data. That is the official source. So even if we know, or we have an idea of how many people are really living in Syracuse, it's really comes down to the census.
Right.
And that's why
it's
super
really,
important.
really important.
It's super important.
Okay.
If we don't have, Syracuse really is going to need this money because COVID-19 has just devastated our local government. So this is a way that you can help your community by responding. It helps make sure that we get fair funding.
Great. Thank you for focusing on that and for bringing that to our viewers' attention so that Syracuse and the Central New York community can get the money that we deserve and the representation that we deserve. Mm-hmm. So now let's go on to our dramatic portion of the program. And we have Mr. Tony Brown who's going to start off. He's going to be doing 2 sonnets today. The first one is sonnet number 9. And the title of the piece for me is It for Fear? So Tony Brown, it's all yours.
Is it for fear to wet a widow's eyes that thou consumest thyself in single life? Ah, if thou issueless shall have to die, the world will wail thee like a makeless wife. The world will be thy widow and shall weep that thou no form of thee haste left behind. When every private widow well may keep by children's eyes her husband's shapes of mine. Look, what an unthrift in the world doth spent. Shift but his place, for still the world enjoys it. In beauty waste hath in the world an end, and keeps unused the user's soul destroys it. No love towards others in that bosom sits, that on himself such murderous shame commits.
Thank you, Tony Brown. Woohoo! And we've kicked off the dramatic piece, and now we're moving into the big piece. And this one is from Richard II, Act 3, Scene 2. We have Richard II, played by Simon Moody, who is in wonderful costume over there. And we have Tony Brown playing the Duke of Aumerle. And Anne Childress is playing the Bishop of Carlisle, and I am playing 2 parts, both ending with an S, or last name ending with an S, the Earl of Salisbury and Sir Stephen Scroop. So take it away, King Richard.
Barcofley Castle, call they this at hand?
Yea, my lord. How books your grace the air, after you late tossed on the breaking seas?
Needs must I like it well. I weep for joy to stand upon my kingdom once again. Dear earth, I do salute thee with my hand, though rebels wound thee with their horses' hooves. As a long-parted mother with her child plays fondly with her tears and smiles in meeting, so, weeping, smiling, greet I thee, my earth, and do thee favors with my royal hands. Feed not thy sovereign's foe, my gentle earth, nor with thy sweets comfort his ravenous sense. But let thy spiders, that suck up thy venom, and heavy-gated toads lie in their way, doing annoyance to the treacherous feet which with usurping steps do trample thee. Yield stinging nettles to mine enemies, and when they from thy bosom pluck a flower, guard it, I pray thee, with a lurking adder whose double tongue may with a mortal touch throw death upon thy sovereign's enemies. Mock not my senseless conjuration, lords. This earth shall have a feeling, and these stones prove armed soldiers, ere her native king shall falter under foul rebellion's arms.
Fear not, my lord. That power that made you king hath power to keep you king in spite of all. The means that heaven yields must be embraced and not neglected. Else, if heaven would, and we will not, heaven's offer we refuse. The pro-offered means of succor and redress.
She means, my lord, that we are too remiss, whilst broken brook through our securities grow strong and great in substance and in power.
Discomfortable cousin, I knowest thou not that when the searching eye of heaven is hid behind the globe that lights the lower world, then thieves and robbers range abroad unseen in murders and in outrage boldly here. But when from under this terrestrial ball he fires the proud tops of the eastern pines and darts his light through every guilty hole, then murders, treasons, and detested sins, the cloak of night being plucked from off their backs, stand bare and naked, trembling at themselves. So when this thief, this traitor, Bolingbroke, who all this while hath revelled in the night, whilst we were wandering with the Antipodes, shall see us rising in our throne, the East, his treasons will sit blushing in his face, not able to endure the sight of day, but self-affrighted tremble at his sin. Not all the water in the rough, rude sea can wash the balm from an anointed king. The breath of worldly men cannot depose the deputy elected by the Lord. For every man that Bolingbroke hath pressed to lift shrewd steel against a golden crown, God for his Richard hath in heavenly pay a glorious angel. And if angels fight, weak men must fall. The heaven still guards the right. Welcome, my lord. How far off lies your power?
Nor near nor farther off, my gracious lord, than this weak arm. Discomfort guides my tongue and bids me speak of nothing but despair. One day too late, I fear me, noble lord, hath clouded all thy happy days on earth. Oh, call back yesterday, bid time return, and thou shalt have 12,000 fighting men. Today, unhappy day, too late, o'erthrows thy joys, friends, fortune, and thy state. For all the Welshmen, hearing thou wert dead, are gone to Bolingbroke, dispersed and fled.
Comfort, my liege. Why look your grace so pale?
But now the blood, 20,000 men did triumph in my face, and they are fled. Till so much blood thither come again, have I not reason to look pale and dead? All souls that will be safe fly from my side, but time hath set a blot upon my pride.
Comfort, my liege. Remember who you are.
I had forgot myself. Am I not king? Awake, thy coward majesty. I, thou sleepest, is not the king's name 20,000 names. Arm my name. A puny subject strikes at thy great glory. Look not at the ground. Ye favorites of a king, are we not high? High be our thoughts. I know my uncle York hath power enough to serve our turn. But who comes here?
More health and happiness betide, my liege, that can my care tune tongue deliver him.
Mine ear is open, and my heart prepared. The worst is worldly loss thou canst unfold. Say, is my kingdom lost? 'Twas my care. What loss is it to be rid of care? Strives Bolingbroke to be as great as we? Greater he shall not be. If he serve God, we'll serve him too and be his fellow so. Revolt our subjects that we cannot mend? They break their faith to God as well as us. Cry woe, destruction, ruin, and decay. The worst is death, and death will have his day.
Glad am I that your highness is so armed to bear the tidings of calamity, like an unseasonable stormy day which makes the silver rivers drown their shores, as if the world were all dissolved to tears. So high above his limits swelled the rage of Bolingbroke, covering your fearful land with hard bright steel, and hearts harder than steel. White beards have armed their thin and hairless scalps against thy majesty. Boys with women's voices strive to speak big and clap their female joints in stiff, unwieldy arms against thy crown. The very beadsmen learn to bend their bows of double fatal yew against thy state. Yea, distaff women manage rusty bills against thy seat. Both young and old rebel, and all goes worse than I have power to tell.
Too well thou tell'st the tale so ill. Where's the Earl of Wiltshire? Where is Bagot? What has become of Bushy? Where is Green? That they have let the dangerous enemy measure our confines with such peaceful steps. If we prevail, their heads shall pay for it. I warrant they have made peace with Bolingbroke.
Peace they have made with him indeed, my lord.
Villains! Vipers damned without redemption! Dogs easily won to fawn on any man. Snakes in my heart blood warm that sting my heart. 3 Judases, each one thrice worse than Judas. Would they make peace? Terrible hath make war upon their spotted souls for this offense.
Sweet love, I see, changing his property turns to the sourest and most deadly hate. Against uncurse their souls, their peace is made with heads and not with hands. Those whom you curse have felt the worst of death's destroying wound and lie full low, graved in the hollow ground.
Is Bushy, Green, and the Earl of Wiltshire dead?
Aye, all of them at Bristol lost their heads.
Where is the Duke, my father, with his power?
No matter where. Of comfort no man speak. Let's talk of graves, of worms and epitaphs. Make dust our paper, and with rainy eyes write sorrow on the bosom of the earth. Let choose executors and talk of wills. And yet not so. For what can we bequeath, save our deposed bodies to the ground? Our lands, our lives are all in Bolingbroke's. Nothing can we call our own but death, and that small model of the barren earth which serves as paste and cover to our bones. For God's sake, let us sit upon the ground and tell sad stories of the death of kings. How some have been deposed, some slain in war, some haunted by the ghosts they have deposed, some poisoned by their wives, some sleeping killed, all murdered. For within the hollow crown that rounds the mortal temples of a king, keeps death his court. And there the antic sits, scoffing his state and grinning at his pomp, allowing him a breath, a little seen to monarchize, be feared and killed with looks, infusing him with self and vain conceit, as if this flesh which walls about our life were brass impregnable. Human thus comes at the last, and with a little pin bores through his castle wall. And farewell, king. Cover your heads, and mock not flesh and blood with solemn reverence. Throw away respect, tradition, form, and ceremonious duty, for you have but mistook me all this while. I live with bread like you, feel, want, taste, grief, need friends. Subjected thus, how can you say to me, I am a king?
My lord, wise men ne'er sit and wail their woes, but presently prevail the ways to wail. To fear the foe, since fear oppresses strength, gives in your weakness strength unto your foe. And so your follies fight against yourself. Fear be slain, no worse can come to fight. And fight and die is death destroying death, where fearing dying pays death servile breath.
My father hath a power. Inquire of him, and learn to make a body of a limb.
Thou chidest me well, proud Bolingbroke. I come to change blows with thee for our day of doom. This ague fit of fear is overblown. An easy task it is to win our own. Say, Scroop, where lies our uncle with his power? Speak sweetly, man, although thy looks be sour.
Men judge by the complexion of the sky, the state and inclination of the day. So may you by my dull and heavy eye. My tongue hath but a heavier tale to say. I play the torturer by small and small to lengthen out the worst that must be spoken. Your uncle, York, is joined with Bolingbroke, and all your northern castles yielded up, and all your southern gentlemen in arms upon his party.
Thou hast said enough. Beshrew thee, cousin, which didst lead me forth that sweet way I was, into despair. What say you now? What comfort have we now? By heaven, I'll hate him everlastingly that bids me be of comfort any more. go to Flint Castle. There, I'll pine away. A king, woe's slave, shall kingly woe obey. This power I have, discharge. Let them go, to ear the land that hath some hope to grow, and for I have none. Let no man speak again. To alter this for counsel is but vain.
My liege, one word.
He does me double wrong that wounds me with the flatteries of his tongue. Discharge my followers. Let them hence away from Richard's night to Bolingbroke's fair day.
Simon and Company, thank you very much. That was wonderful. That seems like the essence of the show in that scene and makes me want to do that show in the future. So thank you, Simon, for bringing it to our attention. Next, we have Anne doing a scene from Romeo and Juliet, the nurse, and I'm calling this Pretty Fool. So Anne, take it away.
Even or odd, of all the days in the year, come Lammas Eve at night, shall she be 14. Susan and she, God rest all Christian souls, were of an age. Well, Susan is with God. She was too good for me. But as I said, on Lammas Eve at night shall she be 14. That shall she marry. I remember it well. 'Tis since the earthquake now 11 years, and she was weaned. I never shall forget it. Of all the days of the year, upon that day. For I had then laid wormwood to my dug, sitting in the sun under the dove house wall. My lord and you were at Mantua. Nay, I do bear a brain, but as I say, when it did taste the wormwood on the nipple of my dug and felt it bitter, pretty fool, to see it touchy and fall out with the dug. Shake, quoth the dug house, 'twas no need, I trow, to bid me trudge. And since that time, it is 11 years, for then she could stand alone. Nay, by the rood, she could have run and waddled all about, for even the day before she broke her brow. And then my husband, God be with his soul, was a merry man, took up the child. Yea, quoth he, doth thou fall upon thy face? Thou wilt fall backward when thou hast more wit, wilt thou not, Jewel? And by my holy dam, the pretty wretch left crying and said, I, to see now how a jest shall come about, I warrant, and I should live 1,000 years. I should never forget it. Wilt thou not, Jewel, quoth he, and pretty fool, it stinted, and said, I.
Nice job, Anne. Woohoo! She's got to get to play the nurse in one of our shows one day. And now we're going to end off the dramatic portion with Mr. Tony Brown doing his second sonnet of the day, sonnet number 12, When I Do Count the Clock. Tony, you've got it.
When I do count the clock that tells the time, and see the brave day sunk in hideous night, when I behold the violet past prime, and sable curls all silvered o'er with white, when lofty trees I see barren of leaves, which erst from heat did canopy the herd, and summer's green all girded up in sheaves, borne on the briar with white and bristly beard. Then of thy beauty do I question make, that thou amongst the waste of time must go, since sweet and beauties of themselves forsake, and die as fast as they see others grow. And nothing against the time's set can make defense save greed, to brave him when he takes the hence.
Tony Brown, woo! Let's hear it for Tony Brown. Okay, we only have a little bit of time left, so I'm going to share my screen because I have some great pictures for you taken by Royce Burgess, who is a professional photographer who loves to come to our shows and take pictures. So let me get this up for you, and then I can show you these beautiful pictures that he took. And there we go. And you should be seeing the first one. That's Beatrice, played by Rebecca Tadros. I have a number of her, but I'm going to skip to the next person. Oh, I have to do another one of her. There we go. Hiding behind, listening to the other characters say how much Benedict loves her. It's not true, but that's what she hears. And here's Benedict espousing on how much he is never going to get married and never going to fall in love. And then we have Borachio, who is the really the maker of the scheme to say that Hero is not true to Claudio, that she actually is with someone else. And here's Claudio, and Claudio is the young love interest who falls in love very quickly with Hero on returning from war, as does happen from time to time. And next we have one of the other villains, Conrad, who is caught by our wonderful constable, Dogberry. And he is just very, very funny. He's like like a comedian who always gets the words wrong, says the wrong word when he's supposed to say the right word, and is self-deprecating, but he doesn't even know he's being self-deprecating. Check out this mask on Don Pedro. Isn't that gorgeous? And you can see all of this. And look who we have here, Ann Childress playing Ursula, and she does a fabulous job too. And finally, we have Elena Ricks, who plays the Watchman. So come on out to the show. You're going to have a great time. There is nothing else live going on in Syracuse, so you have no excuse. Come on out of the house, get some beautiful sunshine, some great air, and we would love to see you. And I think our time has expired, and I'm going to stop the share so everybody can wave bye-bye. And everybody wave bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
See you next week, and we're out. Woo!